live. Outstanding. Yep. Much more prefer this on the actual laptop than the actual cell phone because at least I can actually see myself and see the whole room. And I don't know why it's always different on the screen because everything is spun around. Like everything should be, this should be my right side. And when I look at the screen, everything is, it looks like it's on the left side. I hate that. But just a spontaneous live stream. And for someone who doesn't go live at all, in like the last week, this is like what, my third live. Wow. It's like super freaking bright. Yeah, I'm gonna turn off that light. I doubt it's gonna make any shade of difference. And I gotta put some blinds up in this room because these white curtains are not doing anything. Sorry, gotta try and move this around. Sorry. My face is gonna be like super white. It's fine. These live streams are more about me talking anyways, so you're just gonna have to deal with the whole paleness of my face. You guys seen the title of today's live stream, and I got to ask the question. And I know that there are a huge lot of you guys out there who are huge Hasstel Toys supporters. And don't take me wrong, man. I am probably one of the biggest grappler and gimmick, Hasstel Toys grappler and gimmick fans out there. One of the largest supporters of that line out there. I mean, come on. I own every single figure, every single variant, mint on card, every single figure loose, every single variant loose. So when I say that I am the biggest supporter that there is, come on. I am not blowing smoke. I am. I brag about that company. I give review. I do every single review for every single figure. I give free publicity to that company like crazy. But I also put out there that I kind of feel like their owners, or I don't know if it's multiple people. I assume that, Hasstel Toys, it's a brick and mortar store, right? But Mitch himself, the owner, and he who runs Grapplers and Gimmicks toy line is not a good dude. And today, I think that kind of solidifies my belief. And I've said it before. You've got good people who run these businesses. And when I talk about like Random Treasures, I love Net Schaefer. And I think, you talk to Net, you send her a message at 11 o'clock at night, 11:30 at night on a Sunday. She will respond within moments. AJ over at Latuni, you could sit there for a couple hours, carry on these long conversations, go back and forth. If you got recommendations for his toy line, either upgrades to figures, paint schemes, characters that you would like to see, different molds, fighting poses, whatever it is, different toy lines, things like that, he will sit there and have a conversation with his fans. Why? Because they're consumers. They're the customers that are going to buy his product. But guys like Mitch and, the folks over, who is it? Is it Adam? Is that the guy's name? Over at Zombie Sailors. I think that's his name. But these guys have such a huge freaking ego that if you even so much as try to even make the slightest remark about, hey, this is what I recommend, or hey, could you do this? Like, they will seriously block you in a heartbeat. Today, what solidified my belief that Mitch might not be a good person. and I'm this close to calling him an a-hole. Uh, and you could say that this is my issue. Well, first off, it's like, damn, Matthew, why does it always feel like you always complain? You yourself, Matthew, you sound like an asshole, but whatever. It's my channel, right? I got the right to complain. But here's the thing. A lot of these companies, man, they have a little notes section, uh, preferences. So notes to the seller when you buy an item. And I was purchasing an item for a friend, gift for a friend, and I bought a new Randy Savage figure. In the notes section, hey Mitch, can you please ship it to this person? Name, address, bought the item. Yes, I understand, guys. You could say, well, did you go in and edit your personal address to change it to that person's name? Call it laziness if you want to, but I don't think it's laziness. I don't think I have to go in and change my personal address. Okay. Uh, that's going overboard. I think as long as I put it in the notes, please ship to this address, that should have been enough. The fact that he simply disregarded my notes and shipped the package to me directly, well, that to me is laziness on his end as a seller. So I reached out to him today and I let him know, hey, Hasstel Toys, Mitch, I'm disappointed. I bought this item for a friend and I put in the description, in the notes section that, I was buying this for, a friend, and I put in the notes, please ship to this guy. And, he responds with this, rude, sarcastic, message to me. And this is not the first time that I've ever kind of gotten this type of rude response from him. Like in the past, when I not about shipping, but like well, kind of about shipping, but in the past when I'd reach out to him like, hey Mitch or hey Hasstel Toys, just reaching out to check on the status of so and so item. I bought this as a pre-order 8 months ago, and I'm just checking on the status to see when these items are expected to arrive. That type of email. And you would always get this again, this very rude, snarky, not psychotic, but very rude, snarky response. And I just think that is absolutely abysmal for for an actual business to kind of operate like that. Like you're not being rude. You're not messaging these guys on a weekly basis or every few weeks, every couple months, like, hey, where's my order type of deal. Once in a blue moon, you send a message, checking on an item. Or like I said, like 8 months later, you check on an order status. Like, why is it taking 8 months for a pre-order to arrive? Because with Zombie Sailors and Hasstel Toys, yes, it was literally taking 8 months to a year to receive items, which is absolutely insane. Lately, like Hassel Toy getting better, but crazy. Or why would Hassel Toys put out like a Santa Claus figure, and it's now March? Why are you still waiting on a Santa Claus figure to arrive? You would think you would put that out in like October, so it's be ready by, let's say, Christmas, right? Like, why would you release or put a pre-order for a Santa Claus figure at Christmas? But I bought that figure, but I'm hoping it would have received by now. Like, why is it 3 months later still waiting for it? You're probably not even going to see that damn figure until next Christmas, but that, but I digress with that one. But those are the type of, messages you get. So when I talk about, good sellers that, I always recommend, whether I'm buying from, someone off of like the Asylum store or, Rush Collectibles or, Hasstel Toys, Zombie Sailors, Big Rubber Guy, stuff like that, right? Or if you're talking someone off of Mercari or off eBay, there are certain sellers that I always recommend, right? And Zombie Sailors is one of the absolute worst companies on the planet. I will never recommend them based on customer service. Their customer service is horrible. Hasstel Toys, I am starting to put them right up there as among the worst. Mitch, I mean, I don't know. Again, is it Hasstel Toys as a company or is it just Mitch himself? I don't know if it's multiple people or if it's just one person, but terrible. I I think with the last set of figures that I bought, you know, the Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and other figures that I bought, I think that's it. I think with the, and again, this is not like the first time. This isn't the second time. You know, this isn't even the third time I've gotten this type of response. I have never once been rude or ignorant or anything like that. I just sent him a message. Hey, I've been disappointed because I had expectations, they weren't met, and I was disappointed. It was that simple. I wasn't, you know, belittling him or anything like that. I just wanted to reach out, let you know, hey, I was disappointed with the shipment. That was it. If he had just responded to me, hey Matthew, you know, you've been an awesome buyer, you know, my absolute best buyer, and you know, I definitely want to, you know, make sure that, you know, I keep your repeat business, and that, we strive to give you the best, business, because that's exactly what every business should do, right? Um, I just simply overlooked your message. If that was his response, uh, I overlooked your message. I apologize, or you know, something to that effect. I don't know what it is. Why people just simply cannot accept responsibility? Why is that so hard? I'm sorry. Like, no harm, no foul. Okay, you shipped it to me. I am not going to freaking fuss because you shipped it. I mean, I am fussing, but like, I, you, I'm not going to die because you shipped me the package I paid for. I would have preferred that it was going to go to him, because I mean, I bought the figure for him, but it would have been nice. But I'm not going to die because you shipped me the package I paid for. It would. I just would have preferred, obviously, that way I could have saved on shipping costs, you know? Um, uh, Absolutely. Hey, Lyle, yeah, man. With Hasstel, like I said, with the last batch of figures that I just bought, man, that's pretty much it. Was Alaska. That's pretty much it. With the sort of customer service that you get from the company, man, if that's the sort of attitude that you're gonna get with the company, with the business, I mean, I I think I'm done. And Alaska, I think you yourself, you know, said it yourself, man. They're just freaking figures, man. They're just toys, right? Um, I have not been thrilled with zombie sailors in a long time, right? And if Hasstel Toys, if their customer service is going to be the same as like zombie sailors, and if you actually look at like the last one of the last reviews I did for Hasstel Toys with their batch of 6 figures, right? And if you look at the new bundle of figures they got in with like the new rockers, like Marty is really like the only one I'm interested in. The Brainbusters I was interested in. I actually supported the figures, but now that you actually kind of look at the new photos, now until I actually have them in hand, I'll have a better idea until I actually do a full on review. But kind of looking at them, kind of getting the other opinions from the folks, you know, on the little groups and stuff. And when they start talking about like, sizing and everything, I'm like, makes a lot of sense. And if it's as disappointing as like the last batch of 6 figures I got in, and like I said, with the customer service, these companies are making it easier on me. I talk about wanting to be a completionist, right? I started from the beginning. I want to be able to end. But here's the thing. I'm running out of space. These are not Hasbro's where you're paying $3 to $5 on these figures, right? They're money grabs. They can do like series by series, release like 6 to 10 figures every 6 to 12 months. But when you're putting out mass amount of figures every few months, and they don't have to get all these figures out all at simultaneously, so they're money grabs. You're taking advantage of your clientele, your fans. So if this is the uh sort of attitude that you're going to have towards your buyers, towards your fans, towards the people that support you, they're making it very easy on me. They're making it very easy on the rest of their buyers. So when they start losing all their business, oh, here's a funny thing to consider. When I'll use Zombie Sailors as an example. When I first started buying Zombie Sailor figures, right? And because I felt like Zombie Sailor figures were selling for like a fortune, right? There were a number of figures I didn't have, so I had to go on eBay to buy these figures, and they were like $120 a piece. And I had to fork up those $120 to buy those missing pieces, like a variant pink pants Sabu, which I hated. So a lot of times, yeah, I was buying, my two figures, one loose, one carded. And sometimes I'd buy a third figure because if that's the value of the figures, I'm like, heck yeah, I wanted a third figure. Made sense to me. If people are going to pay $120 for a figure, sell it for $120. Guess what? The $120 you just paid, 40, 40, 40, you just made up for all three of them with one sale. But that's not happening. That's not what people are paying. If you look at Hasstel toys or Zombie Sailor figures, if you get on Mercari, eBay, people are only offering you basically 40% to 50% of what you actually pay for them off of the actual website, because nobody else out there are actually valuing those figures the same way. So you're literally marking up these figures for a massive amount of money on these websites. So if you have the patience to actually wait for these figures to go off sale, or Zombie Sailors, wait to the end of the year, and these same exact figures are paying $40 for, wait till November, December, and you start getting them for like $24. But a lot of folks, they want to buy a bunch of them and then sell them on eBay for like $60, $80, $120. They're not worth it. You see auctions and people are buying them on card 99 cents and they go for like $22 because they're people just don't covet them. And the quality of the figures are going down significantly. I'm gonna read some of these comments real quick, guys. After Series 4 with Zombie Sailors. Yes, Series 4 with Zombie Sailors, to be honest, that's probably the one series that I've actually been really excited about for Zombie Sailors for a long time. Now, back in, what was it, 2022, I think when Zombie Sailors first started, with Series 1, I mean, that was probably the last time I was like crazy excited with Zombie Sailors, because the Dino Bravo figure was really awesome and the referee looked really great. Sable, I really didn't know anything about, so I really didn't care about that one. But since then, I mean, they've had some key pieces. I mean, Bastion Booger was nice, was a nice pickup. One Man Gang was incredible, but even Andre the Giant, which was awesome. But I still think Andre was worse off than even Hasbro, right? But that's, when you look at the figures, I mean, that's pretty much it. The rest of the figures are so and so. Matt Cardona was from Series 1 was a really nice piece. Series 4, I like the Series 4 pickup because obviously Bad News Brown to me is a must-have, which is a shame because I got a really awesome custom of Bad News Brown, and I kind of feel like it's going to go to waste now that you have a brick and mortar store brand version. But Bad News Brown is a must-have. I like the Bloody Ric Flair, and of course Abdullah Butcher finally as a Hasbro style brick and mortar version. That to me is why I think Series 4 is a must-have. So Series 4 is the one thing I'm really excited about. But after Series 4, I don't know. I don't see anything going after that. The Macho Man from Series 4, I think the series is going to be killer. But their customer service is just so horrendous. And guys, if anybody knows, please correct me. Zombie Sailors is the owner. Is his name Adam? Does anybody know? I have the name Adam in my head, but I don't know if that's what his name is. But I remember on one of the podcasts for Major Wrestling Figure Podcast, he was talking about trying to sell his figures in Walmart. I'm like, you got to realize that Walmart for 50, 60 years, 70 years, however long Walmart's been around, it's supposed to be for people on a budget, right? So even when you're selling like wrestling superstars and these Mattel Elites and stuff like that, the AEW figures, there's a reason when you go to like the wrestling or the toy aisle and you see the wrestling figures and why they're always barren. Because you're selling these figures for $20. When you go to, Toys R Us back in the 90s, why were those figures always jam-packed on the pegboards? They were $3 for the figures for Hasbro's. $5 some places. Nobody is paying $20 for Mattel figures when they're inferior products, right? Most parents they're not paying $20. They're expensive. And when you think about grapples and gimmicks, you think about heels and faces, if they're going to sell them in these retail stores for $40, who are you marketing those to? They're going to keep very small quantities on hand, and then eventually they're going to end up in the dumpster bins, or not dumpster bins, but the little, what do you call them, like dollar bin type deals, discount bins, because nobody's going to afford those. And they're going to end up losing their contracts anyway. So it's insane to think that, oh yeah, we're going to start selling our stuff at Walmart. I'm like, come on, that's absolute lunacy. What was it? Oh, man, I spent over 20 minutes talking about freaking Hasstel toys and then meant shoot. I'm sorry, but Mitch does not deserve 20 minutes of my time in this video. Today in the mail, guys, from Mark Hackenberg, I got a couple new customs in. Now, this is what I'm talking about. A guy that does absolutely amazing customs, and we're not talking about $75 customs or $100 customs. We're talking about amazing custom work for a very fair, affordable price. And we're talking basic LJN figures, but repainted to look absolutely amazing. I was going to make this its own unique video, but I think this live show is a great time to show these figures off. And I think this was a WrestleMania 3, so someone showing them both off. Look at it. Absolute perfect. So 1989, you guys know the with the Latuni with the mod, right? And he has his 1989 Macho Man as he tag teamed with Zeus against Hulk Hogan and Bruce Beefcake, right? Well, Mark, he created his variation with the original LJN version Macho Man, and he created a perfect version Yeah, this freaking light is I I should really move. But absolute perfect, man. Because I have the Latuni figure, I'm like, you know what? I probably don't need this, but then I looked at this and I'm like, it's a Mark Hackenberg custom. And like I said, I've got over 2 dozen Mark Hackenberg customs. And I always say, if you guys get the opportunity, eBay, Facebook, wherever you got to find him. If you want good quality customs, this man is literally one of the greatest customizers on the planet. And we're not talking about over the board, over the moon, great customization to the point where he's cutting up figures and doing all this crazy stuff. We're just talking about state of the art paint work. So kind of like what you get from think about like what Net does with Ram Treasures. She's not, cutting up figures and making up stuff, right? Uh, like Kevin, he 3D prints the figures with resin from Print Fury, right? And then she buys the molds and she turns the resin figures into rubber, and then she takes those rubber molds and she paints them up, right? So, with Mark, he just takes LJNs, he takes the poor figures or whatnot, and he just turns them into these amazing works of art. And you guys know Ricky Steamboat. I hate the Ricky Steamboat figure. To me, it's like one of the top 11, top 12 worst LJN figures ever. But a Mark Hackenberg Ricky Steamboat figure is a must have. And I like the fact that this one, he turned this into sort of the prototype version, but he put his own spin on this version. So not only do you get the prototype variant, but uh, you can't really see it. But it does have like yeah, this is a bad, very bad with the damn lighting. But the little dragon down here and little decal, right? A little dragon decal. I don't know if you can really make it out down there. And of course, you guys know how I feel about laces and other added color into the boots. So one of my absolute favorite customizers. So absolute killer. To me, it's always a must-have to pick up any of his figures. So anytime I see him come out with any new customs, I try to ask him, "Hey, man, are you selling?" Because if he is, I definitely try to pick that stuff up as much as possible. Mm. Don't worry, guys. I got the tequila bottle still, but I'm not drinking today. Anytime I try to get on like live stream or something, you guys, I try to have like a little whiskey bottle or something, but today I kind of held off. I honestly wasn't expecting to have anybody tune into today's live stream, so I decided not to. Like I said, kind of a spontaneous live stream. Let me read some of these comments. His figures, they had to be priced around $15. Oh God, no. $50 for Walmart, never in a million years. $15. I mean, I could see $15. That's a possibility. Yeah. As far as LJN customs, or excuse me, LJN customs, LJN MOCs, that is what really angers me. When did I start buying my MOC figures? Probably, I don't know if it was the end of 2022 or early 2023, but I just feel like every single MOC figure was at, we're not talking the high end figures. We're talking like Ricky Steamboat type figures and Bob Orton. Well, Bob Orton, because he has the accessory. I mean, anything with accessories was more expensive. But your general in the mill figures, I think everything was like hovering between $400 to $800. And now I feel like Mean Gene Okerlund, was, $300-400 figure, I think that would probably go for like 75 to $110 if the card was absolutely perfect. No creases, no spider veins around no crease around the edges, no spider veins. Bubble was perfect, no dents, no cracks in the bubble, anything like that. So, uh, Bam Bam Bigelow, I think I probably paid like $800 for $600, something like that. And Bam Bam Bigelow probably go on auction for like 350, maybe less than, somewhere under $400. I'm like, so I'm seeing the prices tonight. I'm like, how much money I could have saved on all those LJNs if I waited like another year or so. It's crazy. So yeah, I'm so disappointed that but the viewers, right? I wanted to buy this stuff up as quickly as possible, as soon as I could, because I wanted to make these sort of videos, especially in 2023 when I was making the LJN videos, when I was looking at all series by series, and I wanted to have all MOC figures and loose figures for the reviews. I tried to buy them up as quickly. You guys saw that when I started buying the MOCs, like I was buying them up in quick succession. Like I probably went from like, let's say 20 cards to like 50 cards in like a month. So I went super fast with the acquisitions. uh well, COVID was 2020, 2021. I mean, I didn't come home from Iraq until when I came home permanently, it was at the end of January 2022. And yeah, I've been home ever since. But shoot, I don't remember getting a darn stimulus check. When COVID hit, I was working in Kuwait at the time. And that friggin' sucked, man. Shoot. Like, all right, here's the thing. We're in Kuwait when COVID hit, and for Lockheed Martin, we had these absolutely enormous freaking apartments, and those freaking apartments had like probably 3 or 4 bedrooms. Plus you had like I don't know, I almost called it a slave apartment. Uh that's kind of like what they were, man. Shoot. Because damn Equates, they don't just have butlers. I mean, their darn butlers are pretty much slaves. Damn. But you have a little butler's quarter, if that's what you want to call it, butler's quarter. So you had like 4 damn bathrooms. So when I say these apartments were crazy huge, uh, plus their apartment buildings are like 50 floors high. I mean, gorgeous freaking apartment buildings. I mean, Lockheed Martin was probably laying out like $4,000 on, for each of these apartments, and for the apartment that we were staying at, the apartment complex. What was it called? It was called the Thatcher complex, apartment complex, and they probably were paying maybe a dozen apartments, 20 apartments. They had a bunch of apartments in that complex that they were paying for. And when COVID hit and everybody had to start moving, like it was rampant for a little bit, and after a couple weeks, they're like, "No, we want everybody to move on base." So everybody started congregating to Camp Arifjan, and the SF, they had this little small area, the small room that they started putting everybody in, and they started putting everybody in these little cubicles. So instead of having everybody in their own apartments, where everybody had their, you had 2 people, some people had 3 people to an apartment. Again, everybody had their own bedroom in these big, massive apartments, which Lockheed Martin was already paying for. No, they want to put all of their employees in this room where you're putting two people to a cubicle right on top of each other, not like literally an office cubicle, okay? No coverage or anything like that. So everybody's right on top of each other. I'm like, what kind of stupidity is that? And for months, yes, while nobody was living in those apartments, yes, Lockheed Martin was still paying for those apartments. And it was about the dumbest thing in the world. But they moved you on post because, yeah, obviously you still had to go to work, and they didn't want to pay you for not going to work. Um, Lockheed Martin had this thing where, because of visas and everything, every like, what was it, every 90 days, I think, you had to, I forgot what they call it, turn and burn, I think it was called. So like every 90 days, you had to like leave Kuwait to go to Dubai and then come back into Kuwait to reset your visa. So we had a couple of guys that went on a turn and burn, and when COVID hit, Kuwait shut down. So they shut down the airports, so nobody was allowed in or out of Kuwait. So guys were stuck in Dubai. So where did they go? I think they went to like Al Assad or something like that, and I think Al Assad is in Iraq, if I'm not mistaken. But they were on the SOCOM contract, and what was it? SODF. Well, of course, it was SODF, but because we were on the Syria contract, so they were working out of Iraq, and obviously they couldn't do work for the special forces contract, supporting, the Syrian army. So everything that they were doing was clerical work through the computer. But Kuwait was shut down. They couldn't make it back into Kuwait. So how were they supposed to come back to Kuwait to work in the warehouse, right? So only thing that they could do is go to another Lockheed Martin facility, which was in Al Assad, and work at another base and still do their work from there, and do computer work. Well, military didn't like that, and they terminated their contracts. And it's BS that Lockheed Martin didn't fight for them and try and save their jobs, or later on rehire them and bring them back or whatnot. So the whole COVID thing, it really screwed a lot of people, a lot of good people out of their jobs and stuff. Um, I don't know if they were blacklisted from being able to contract on blacklisted or whatnot, but that was total yes. Like I said, a couple of really good guys lost their jobs for something that was out of their control, and they were just doing exactly what the company told them to do. And the fact that they weren't protected was stupid, um, but yeah, that second deployment with Lockheed Martin, I mean, I really enjoyed my time with Lockheed that second time. First time it could have been better, but the second time with Lockheed was amazing. And a couple of injuries. I talked about my forklift injury with Lockheed that second go around. That sent me home. I mean, that sucked. Otherwise, I probably would have been with Lockheed a whole lot longer. And then, of course, coming home in January 2022 after my time with the other company that I don't want to talk about because they're straight trash. But freaking COVID, man. When did COVID like finally, like, the whole wearing masks around the US, when did that stuff finally end? Like, I think I remember around Kentucky, around Louisville, I think I still remember people still wearing masks in like 2023 and stuff. And I'm like, man, COVID was 3 years ago. Why are we still doing this? Insane. Let's see. Hey, Jeremy. Uh, Hasbro's was my toy line from childhood. So when it comes to action figures, yes, the Hasbro wrestling figures will always be my favorite toy line ever. Oddly enough, from childhood, obviously, I've always said, Hasbro's and Galoob figures were the only wrestling figures that we actually had as kids. And because we didn't have a lot of wrestling figures, like as an adult, I actually went back and counted, what figures we actually had, and it came out to be like 17 Hasbro's and 7 Galoobs. So whenever I would do like wrestling, whenever I would do Royal Rumbles, and you want to have a full 30-man Royal Rumble, right? So I would use whatever toys that we had around the house for wrestling figures. So I would use like that football player from Real Ghostbusters, like he would be a wrestling figure, or I would use the bendable Incredible Hulk, or the bendable Harry and the Hendersons would be a wrestler. That would be a go-to great figure for play. Uh, from Panthro from Thundercats. Oddly enough, Panthro, even I never watched Thundercats, but like I had that Panthro figure for some reason, or we as kids had Panthro, and he was like one of the greatest wrestling figures we had, one of the most utilized wrestling figures ever. So Panthro was a great wrestling figure for us, and trying to think, Skeletor again. We never watched He-Man, but Skeletor was a wrestling figure for us. So um, Hasbro was my go-to line. So Sid Vicious, I've always talked about is my George Washington of action figures. Even though Galoob as a kid, I didn't like the Galoob line, but growing up, Galoob was always my second favorite toy line, but they were my second favorite toy line based on default because we only had two lines. Sid Vicious, my entire life, was my favorite toy. That was because he was an unbreakable figure. You never had to worry about his arms breaking or anything like that. And I always enjoyed his pose. He was always the most utilized figure. So Sid Vicious was always Galoob was always my favorite toy if we had to have one. Um, hey, thanks, sir. I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, I definitely wanted to start incorporating this room at least for the live videos because like I said, this room is like turning into like my 90s superhero room sort of. And obviously I got some of my horror stuff here. Then back there I got like all the new Funko figures, Mortal Kombat, I got what else I got back there? The horror section, and then I got like Thundercats and stuff like that from the Funko figures, the 5.5 Remco style Funko figures. Off Temu, I bought one of these lighted up shelves, but I've already screwed it up and I already cut one of the wires. So I haven't even set up the actual lights on it, and I haven't put on the glass. So now it's just basically a regular old shelf. So I spent all the extra money on a shelf that I'm not even utilizing as an actual light up shelf. So that's kind of stupid, but I come in here sometimes and I sit on this bed and I watch TV in here and I look at this collection and I'm like, this is quickly becoming one of my favorite rooms. And I'm like, absolutely. When we had one of the sick cats, Jinx, before he died a couple years ago, my wife kept him in here all the time, and this was sort of, his room and whatnot. Whenever he wanted out, he'd meow at the door. We let him out, and he'd spend the day outside. And whenever he'd want to come back in, he'd run upstairs and mew or claw at the door. And so we'd come upstairs and open the door, let him back in here, and it's be his room. But once he was gone, I was able to kind of clean this room out and kind of convert this into like my secondary toy room, sort of. Uh, and yeah, that was kind of like the goal, was kind of turn this into like a 90s superhero type room with like all the 90s Fox Kids superhero shows. But a lot of the stuff that I've been buying, I quickly outgrew it or like phased out of it. I guess the prices just started irritating me. Like, all right, here's the thing. Like, I get it. Stuff like Masked Rider, and you guys could tell me if you feel differently about this. I don't follow Japan uh TV shows, right? So if I'm wrong, please correct me. But Kamen Rider, to my knowledge, was probably on the air for decades. So I don't know if it was like years or if it was decades. I'm to my knowledge, I thought it was decades. So I get Kamen Rider being like a super successful show in Japan. But Kamen Rider being successful in Japan did not translate to the United States. Kamen Rider compared to Masked Rider in the United States, night and day. Masked Rider ran for one season in the United States. Power Rangers was a 30-year success story. Masked Rider had a backdoor pilot in Power Rangers. Okay. And then, Masked Rider had his TV show that aired on Fox Kids. Yes, as someone who grew up in the 90s, watching Fox Kids, watching Power Rangers, Masked Rider, VR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs, Mystic Knights of Tir Nonog, Young Hercules on Fox Kids. Yes, all those shows were enjoyable. Got it. I loved all those. I enjoyed all of them. Absolutely. But there are such a small niche of fans out there who actually enjoy those. These were all like $5 action figures when they were like Kmart, Ventures, what have you, Target, whatever store they were selling them at, right? So as a fan, you want these for your collection for nostalgia reasons. Got it. But when you're trying to buy a Masked Rider figure today, you get on eBay, Mercari, and people have the audacity to sell these things for like 75 to like 300 freaking dollars. They're 4-inch pieces of goddamn plastic, and you have the audacity to charge someone $300 for. I mean, if you don't want to sell the item, don't sell the freaking item. So yeah, it makes me freaking mad when I'm a fan. I'm like, okay, I'd like to start a new collection, and I'm interested in starting this particular collection because it kind of fits the mold of what I'm trying to accomplish. Like I want to have a 90s superhero room. So I want to go for these particular lines. But it's so hard to acquire these particular lines because of the cost. So now, as soon as I started these collections, just as quickly as I got into buying or starting the collection, just as quickly as I started, just as quickly I've ended. And it doesn't even have anything to do with space. It's because it's just ludicrous amount of money. Uh, on the back wall, Big Bad Beetleborgs. And I think a lot of those figures that I bought, some of them probably hovered around maybe $30, but a good chunk of them are probably $75 to $100. And are they worth it? Probably not. And the ones that are like $30 are the bubbles are like yellowed out. And I bought them because they're the most affordable. It's insane. I got a shelf down here, probably a dozen or 2 dozen figures. VR Troopers are a little bit more expensive, are a little bit more affordable, but they're still crazy expensive. Uh, there's like bendable, a little Bendy's figure carded from like Ryan Steele, who is like the lead VR Trooper character. Uh, I mean, is that like a $25 figure on card? Or Gridlock, who's like the bad guy, the lead power bad guy, Big Boss. was he like a $75 figure with like $30 shipping from like the UK or something? I'm like, really? So yeah, I want this to be a superhero room. I want to fill this up a whole lot more. If you actually, at some point, I'm going to do another room tour. You're going to take a look at all of this stuff on the wall, all of the Ninja Turtles on that back wall, Power Rangers here, Power Rangers here. This whole thing, yeah, downstairs. I still consider the downstairs with all the wrestling stuff, all the Power Rangers collection, but I've filled these walls up, and I said this purple room, I was never going to touch this room because the walls were pristine. But when I decided to, like, you know what? I want to decorate these walls because when I die, when my wife dies, we are not leaving any of our stuff to anybody. We don't have kids. Um, so our house, our collections are going to the state, or it's going to family who is going to fight over it. And like, hey, whoever wants it, whoever wants to fight over it the most can have it, because we got nobody to that we want to give our stuff to. So, kind of holding this figure. I've got a ton of these Legends of Professional Wrestling figures on red card, right? Um, I want these figures loose. I got all of them on card, but if you have any of these figures loose that you're willing to sell for a great price, and I'm not talking like 10 figures for $300, I won't do that. But if you got like 15 figures, 20 figures for like $100 type of deal, I'd be interested in buying these things. Definitely want those loose if you have them. We are hovering closer to an hour, and this was a fun live stream. I actually got a lot of comments, a lot of participation today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really want these live streams to be more consistent, because I don't know. I haven't been feeling eager to make just random videos anymore, to be honest. But live streams, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying making live streams. I'm enjoying having the chats and conversations and interactions with you guys. So, let's see what else we got. Yeah, yeah. Sid Udy. I mean, when he died, I mean that was heartbreaking. When I talk about celebrities, celebrities that have died and have the greatest impact, obviously one of the biggest celebrities for me was Jason David Frank, and one of those guys I never talked about. I never even made a video about his death back in the day when, back in, what was it, November of 22. Damn, hard to believe he's been gone. This is the third year now. When Jason David Frank died, I couldn't bring myself to make a video, talk about his death. Even though I was like 8 years old when he died, when Partners came out, right, and he was probably like 20 years old. So I mean, it's not like he was like too far ahead of me as far as age goes. But watching Power Rangers, I mean, to me back in the day, that was like my first real superheroes. And yeah, you realize it's TV, it's not real, but you still kind of treat them as real superheroes nonetheless. It was just fun to treat them as superheroes, right? And again, you know better. You're old enough to know it's not real. It's make believe. It's TV show. It's again, it's fake. But so that was one of the hardest things when I think about celebrity deaths over the years. That was probably the one that impacted me the most. Recently with Michelle Trachtenberg, when my wife told me that Dawn from Buffy died, and I'm like, I didn't believe her. I'm like, Michelle Trachtenberg, she's my age. She's like 39, 40 years old. There's no way in hell that she died. And I had to look it up, and then just story after story after story, Michelle Trachtenberg, age 39, died. I'm like, Hearing that, I literally freaking died in it died in so inside myself. I kind of told my wife, if anything ever happened to her, Michelle Trachtenberg was going to be my new wife. Um, and it's funny you could say things like that about a celebrity. Like you say that about a celebrity, and women have like no reaction. It's like, yeah, whatever. But you say that about a non-celebrity, and it's like they will freak out and like want to beat you to death with like a kitchen pan or something, or like a frying pan or something. Because with the celebrity, they think that they're famous, that you have no shot with them whatsoever. But I absolutely love Michelle Trachtenberg, right? Um, and again, because she's around my age, and I pretty much sort of grown up with her ever since like Harriet the Spy, and probably even before then. I don't know what she was in before then, but that movie's been out since forever. And I've seen her in so many damn movies. And again, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, my favorite show. That's another one of those darn deaths that kind of hurt like hell. And then I kind of think about like, Sid Udy, for example. I think about, Sid Vicious, because even though maybe not his wrestling matches, but like even just his action figure, even a simple action figure had an impact that much that the real life person that his death would have had that sort of impact. And of course, what I didn't really watch him in WCW, but in WWF all the time. So I didn't know him as, Sid Vicious. I knew him as Sid Justice for a long time. So that's another one of those, obviously sad and impactful deaths. So when I say, Sid Vicious, my George Washington of action figures, yeah, that was another tough one, man. Mm. Guys, we are having almost an hour. I'm gonna try and take this to about an hour even, and I'm probably gonna call it a day. Uh, I was watching a video this morning, and I found a new YouTuber that I just started following, just subscribed to, and she was making a video today about, I guess, what is it? What the hell are they called? Goodwill. I guess people that donate to Goodwill. Goodwill is now on a site or app called not WhatsApp, some kind of auction site like eBay, whatnot. It's like an eBay thing, and I just actually downloaded the app today. Whatnot. So, and people are like donating these free items, and now they're on whatnot, doing auctions for these items. And it got me thinking. You guys know, I talk about it all the time. I always list my stuff on eBay and Mercari, and my stuff just does not sell worth a darn, right? But I always see people like do actual live auctions on like Facebook, or they do live auctions on like YouTube, for example. Like they will hold up a figure, right? Damn, that's terrible. Man, this whole reverse screen is killing me. Like I keep holding it up and going left, but it's going right. Left, but it goes right. I'm like, that's driving me nuts. Like, what I want to do is like an actual live show one day and be like, oh, Ultimate Warrior, $5 starting bid, and kind of go like that or something, and see if that will actually, if that might actually work one day, as opposed to trying to sell this crap on eBay, because like I said, it doesn't work. But the problem is, I would have to have like 10 or 20 20 viewers or something that would actually be interested in doing auctions with me, because if I have like 3 people, 5 people bidding, I mean, that's may not be worth my while. But recently I've been going, because again, when I buy, the only places I buy is on eBay and Mercari, right? So I've talked about before, I don't go like auction, storage auctions, or I don't go to yard sales or anything like that. I don't go to Goodwills and thrift stores and whatnot. Everything I buy for resale or whatever comes off of eBay and Mercari. But I've been buying a lot of figures for intended purposes, and I've been trying to put these bundles together because I got a lot of duplicates. And because I got a lot of duplicates, I decided I want to put these particular bundles together. So I'm trying to buy stuff that meets those particular bundles. So if I got a lot of Series 2 figures, I'm trying to find the missing pieces for Series 2 that I could put together so I can complete Series 2, and then try to find the accessories so I can submit an entire bundle of Series 2 with all accessories. Or if I got all of these Series 1 duplicates, okay, let me find the missing pieces for Series 1. Let me find all their accessories so that I could put them all in one series for all of Series 1 with accessories complete, and list that all in one bundle, or all in one listing, etc. Or I got these amount of figures as jumpers. Let me go out and buy additional figures that are all jumpers, so I could create one listing with all Hasbro figures that are jumpers. So that's my intention. And yeah, I got just a massive, massive, massive amount of duplicate figures right now that I'm going to have available for sale. And I don't know when I'm going to list them. Probably, I might just wait till like December, just sell everything in around Christmas time, but I don't want to wait that long. I want to try and get my money back as soon as possible, but that is the idea. If you guys are interested in that stuff, I might do an auction on a live stream one day. If I could figure it out, maybe I do a live stream or do a live auction on Facebook. I don't know. I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I'm not very tech savvy, but that is something I'm considering. So, guys, we're at over an hour. I could pretty much keep going on chatting because I'm really enjoying these live streams and chatting with you guys, but I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I still want viewers who are gonna watch these live chats later on to have the opportunity to watch something and not just be bored out of their mind watching a 2-3 hour live stream. So I will end the video here, guys. Most of these live streams are just spontaneous, so if you are interested in a live stream, let me know, and maybe one day we can find a specific day or time to kind of meet up for random chit chats here and there. And of course, I will always bring the tequila because I have to. All right, guys. That is it for now. I will talk to you guys at a later time. As always, thank you so much, and talk to you later. Take care, everybody.